This is the new Ford. It is the single most highly anticipated car. Although Ford hasn't announced pricing yet, it's rumored that well-optioned versions will likely cost a penny. I've flown all the way to Tooele, Utah to borrow this Ford from Ford at the Ford GT press launch. Today I'm going to show you all of its interesting, awesome new technology, and then I'm going to take it out on the road and show you how it drives. And of course, for more of my thoughts on the Ford GT experience, click the link below for my column on autotrader.com/oversteer. Oh, and by the way, this isn't the only thing I've done. I've also made a video thoroughly comparing the new and the old on my channel, so keep checking back. Before I get into all the new Ford GT is built in Canada. It's the same engine block from the Ford F-150. It makes 6 horsepower and 5 pound-feet of torque, and this car will do 2 miles per hour in 0 to 6.2 seconds. The GT uses the entire world. We'll start with the doors. Now, the old Ford GT had those crazy doors with the roofs on them that was annoying. Here's how you get in the new Ford GT. You press this little thing, the door pops up, and now on the inside of the door, you'll notice a couple of cool features. For example, here is the button once you're inside. Also, you'll notice there are 2 climate control vents on each door, and the door pull doesn't go all the way up, but you pull the door closed by grabbing this thing and pulling it down. Features and quirks. I'm going to start with possibly the coolest, but this one controls the windshield washer spray. This one turns on the turn signal and turns it back off again. Down here are the Bluetooth or the voicing. It's the only stereo volume control. On the left, these buttons change the stereo tri-beams. As for the 2 dials, the one on the left controls your drive mode, and each drive mode completely reconfigures the fully digital gauge class. For sport mode, and you're more interested in what gear you're in than the speed, so the gear moves to the front. The odometer is banished to the top left corner, because your speed doesn't really matter as much. Speed. Switch into that in your speed windshield wipers, which is simple feature. When you put the Ford, so many functions in a second. The thinking was that they wanted to put as many things on the backrest with a little lever located down here, but the seats themselves are fixed. They don't passenger mirror. It's a few inches you can get in the Ford Performance catalog. The funny thing is, this car also has a normal seat belt. Lotus Elise or some other small car, there's barely room for a bunch of switches in the middle. And so there are only a few items. Suspension comfort mode, traction control off. Number 2 is for aero. It's one of the most unique design features. It has adjustable pedals, but not with the press of some electronic bus. There's only a few others, no screen. Ford thought of that. There's a redundancy. It's a little nylon strap located on the B-pillar, and it has a little picture of a door component of this car. In fact, the little holes on here, you push it, it opens, and after you stop pumping, it could get kind of annoying. Comes into that giant intake on the side, or you can see it a lot in part through the flying buttress to be able to show people when you see one at Cars and Coffee comes up that it's locked, only for a second. They put it here because that's where the position indicator is on the race car. Shows whether it's in first, second, third, what lap, etc. And now for the road car, there's a little lock-unlock icon. Now let's talk about storage for a second. The only exterior storage bit in this car is back here, where the trunk is under the same panel as the engine. To access it, you press the little trunk button twice on the key fob and it pops open, or you push a little button inside the car next to the steering wheel. Now, you remember how in the old Ford GT, the entire rear lifted up and you could see everything and the tires and it was really cool? Well, not so in this car. It's a much smaller area. Little storage compartment up front. Not so in this car. Really sparse. The really cool thing about those 2 modes is that when you switch into track mode or VMAX mode, the car lowers. Now, it'd be impossible slippery shape, and when it's up, there's a little lip here to provide extra downforce. Here's another cool Ford GT roll cage. In other words, if you took this car to a racetrack or an autocross, or at least to me, I'm going to take it out on the road and find out how it drives. All right, time to drive the new Ford GT. This is a very exciting, it's quite quick, even in normal mode. Handling is just next level precise. That was a bad idea. Eventually, I forgot I was in track mode. Then this happened.
There you go. Shit.